Good morning, guys. I guess it's an afternoon, but it's morning for the demon. Today, I'll be attaching some whistles onto the water whistle vessels. Before I do that, let me show you what I prepped for us today, guys. Alright. As you can see, I have a lot of little different whistles, all different shapes, sizes, sounds. Just trying to have some fun with form and how these whistles can really come together. They all make different noises, they all make different sounds. They're all gonna speak to me in a different way when I'm attaching them onto the vessels. And hopefully, we'll be doing some impromptu sculpting on these objects. Here we go. Alright, guys. Good? Good job. That's an intro, right? So, they all make different noises though. So you got this right here. Kind of have a nice bird chirp. Kind of crazy, right? What else do we like here? This one I thought kind of looks like a turtle shell or a dumpling. So cool, right? In the meantime, I'm gonna hop over here. Camera B. And what do we got? We got our water whistle forms. Wow, we got some options, so let's see. Let's start with the one on the far left here. Desk. There's the form. We're gonna get some of these whistles off to the side here. And I wonder if we could have them actually on a small chair next to us, just so we can keep them in our visual. Maybe on this side. Just so we can kind of think about what the whistles are going to be like based on what do we have, right? So we just want to keep those within view. I'll do that with handles sometimes, or if I'm doing knob handles or making like flower knobs for mugs. I'll show you, like, for those of you who've never seen my flower handles. Well, I need a good representation of it, right? I can't just pick anything. Zoom. Let's see what we got over here. This is a good example. I think some of you guys have seen these before though. But this is one of my knob handle flower handles, right? But this is a I'm not going to talk too much about it. It's a copper red glaze that got split reduced, which that's why you get one side that's really like bloody and one side that's really blue. But the main thing is I was trying to get away from traditional handles, like what you see at desk, camera B. You can see here is that little thing there, it's more of a traditional handle, right? I was trying to get away from that on the sides of my objects to camera B, wheel. To change what I put on the side, instead of it just being a normal handle, I wanted to make these knobs, and that's when I started making these little floral knobs. But if we zoom in here, space, you can see really it's kind of floral. You know, they're thrown off the top, so imagine this is the top where I'm throwing, and I do that same thing. This is actually the basis of if you guys remember the tendrils on the bottoms of the tree. This is where the idea came from. So kind of interesting. So, but I do that same type of idea of keeping things within view. So sometimes these things can end up influencing each other, right? Like maybe if I have a bunch of those knobs next to me, it can influence the way in which I'm responding to form. Okay, let's get these out of here. Close in. And let's get this on over here. So I've been thinking about this other idea too, of doing this thing where I put 2 whistles on each one of these. I'll be more clear here in a second. Okay, let's get some of these crumbles in there. Get some slip, but let's start right here. So I'm thinking we want something maybe with a smaller sound. It might be okay actually. We'll do this. I'll put it off to the side a little bit. So you can kind of see on this side. I can't get a good seal with my mouth on this. But that's just lets you know that the thing whistles, right? So that's how you can test if it whistles. I'll be here. And what we're gonna do is we're actually just gonna scratch. You know, some people would say, just slip and score in there. I could first before I do this, but I find that even if this is the part that breaks, or gets a crack, it's not really that big of a deal. Let's see if we can get another. Okay. Turn the brush. Wheel. Okay. And if we have a small, well, this one will be a double small whistle. You know, let's not play around too much this early on. Let's get into some more experimentation later, right? And I don't know where I set my little tube. There it is. And it's gonna be around here. Have them talk to each other on this side. can see. Close in. Had a little hole right here. Okay. Next up, maybe on this one, maybe we'll do test 2. How about we do slip and screw on the inside of this one. If one of them breaks, we'll know which one fits better, right? Sometimes your final pieces need to also be test tiles. Alright, looks great. Let's move this slip in there. How am I going to do this? That didn't work. I'm just going to hope it works. That's a hard thing to test, actually. This one I have to attach in there. Kind of got messed up. I'm gonna just hope it works, right? The whole entire idea is like I make the water whistle go on one side, but then I pull it back and I close this top hole and it makes the sound go through this whistle. That's the idea. That's what we're gonna hope happens, but there's just not really a good way right now for me to test it out. I wish I had a little compressed air gun or something that I could just try it out with, but that's okay. All right, so we're gonna let this one fester, right? We're gonna let them sit up and we're gonna chill out, okay? Wheel. Desk. Number 1. So we're gonna let them chill out. We're gonna get our other one. Next one, we're gonna go over to shelf. We're gonna get another one here, okay? Maybe we're just gonna do them in order in which I started here. So this next one here, right? So we'll go over to zoom. This is what this one is looking like, guys. You get some cool stuff here, right? Think about this for a second. Good? All right, guys. I mean, if I'm looking at this, some things I'm liking about it, they almost function like islands, right? I can imagine this first one, the big one right there. That's almost like a little tree, maybe like a big oak. I always think of, whenever I see the trees, I think of the story, The Giving Tree. And I couldn't recite it, that's what it reminds me of. But I also think about the handles being a sort of timeline, and it's being pushed. So something's like leaping off of the handle, pushing on to the future, and that's what this little whistle attachment that I'm gonna be giving over here is gonna be about. I'm thinking that this also, to me, seems like I need to go a little bit smaller with it. I want it to kind of fit the tone of this the tree, so I got to shrink down maybe the sculpture a little bit, right? So let's get into it. Ka-chow. But yeah, I hope that kind of makes sense, right? Camera A. Gimbal. Close in. So what do we have for small ones left? We have this small thin one. Kind of like this one, so I'm gonna keep that one around. But this one we can definitely use. Okay. I'm gonna start this one off over here. I'm gonna have a whistling outward. I'm gonna cut right in on the shoulder. Now I actually went down into the vessel there, so that's no good. Guys, I literally feel like I'm playing that game, what's it called? Operation. Try not to poke through the vessel, but get that little hole punch out. Usually they get like lodged in here and there's no worry about it, but that time I had to fish it out, which was a little bit frustrating. That's okay. I'm gonna just open this up, seeing we can get out of here, right? Oh, I just realized how to do this properly. It's a lot easier to close the hole if it's on this side than it is on the other side. So maybe you always start with the whistle making on this side first, rather than the small secondary vessel. Alrighty. Kind of liking what we're going with here. Okay. Right to the bottom, get some more slip on here. But we do want it talking. We do want it talking. Camera B, close in, gimbal. Okay. Just want to show you guys what I'm doing over here. I'm just trying to get underneath this edge. Close this up real nice. Let's give it a little sound test. Ooh, that one's a little ear piercing. But I think this is great. So we're gonna go over to wheel. Wheel. All right, great. So now we're gonna get the secondary one going. This is where we're gonna take one of the larger ones, I think. Maybe something like this. Kind of like that. We do have another option for a low tone. I'm gonna do the lower one here. I think it's gonna contrast the high pitch of this one a little bit more if I kind of have a lower toned vessel here. So we're gonna cut this in the back. But the reason I put this on its side here, if we go back into close in, so you'll see that when this goes in, well, I can lay this a little bit more flat. I should make this a little bit wider actually, but that will widen when I open this up with my scoring tool here, you know. Scratching in on this. All right, now let's test it out. All right, well, it works. Kind of interesting the way it's sitting. And so these are going to be little areas for me to add sculptures on here in a second, but look at that. You can already kind of see the potential. I almost see like two wolves howling at each other or something, you know? I really like this idea of making them interact with each other. But anyway, camera A. Let's bring this one back over here, let this dry up. Okay. Shelf. Camera B. Alrighty, so here we go. There's our other one. I'm liking what we got cruising over here, right? Look at that. I think that's sick. Camera A. Nice. The handle's a little bit soft, so that's kind of worrying. The rest of it feels nice though. Okay. I'm gonna hope it shrinks enough that when my hand is totally, and this is glazed, that it will shut that whole thing, and I'll do double whistle here. I have two turtle-shaped ones, so maybe I'll do both the turtle-shaped ones just hanging off the side, right? Kind of like that idea. Gimbal. Close in. Alright. So you guys can kind of see what I'm doing on both sides now. Somebody said, no more flower vases. Well, no, that project's just done. I finished that project. I did the whole year of doing the trees every day. So now I'm just doing a different stuff now. It's not really with the trees. I already filled the whole, I just did the project, that's all. And then somebody said, these are new. I missed the transition from trees. Well, I guess it was kind of sudden for some people, but yeah. The trees were just one project, you know. Alright, there we go. I'm gonna grab this. Some clay right on the side here. This fits great. Okay, but we want to also get another attachment point up here on the top of the shell. And what I'm thinking about this for this one is, imagine almost like turtles trying to crawl with this vessel that they've now turned into their home, right? I can imagine them as some sentient turtle people that just like use pots as their homes. So we got one. Look at this one. I like the idea of it's almost trying to crawl on top of this handle here, right? So if you look at that, I feel like it's gonna be really cool. We'll zoom in here. Camera B, gimbal. All right, guys. So just look at this. This is a turtle, right? We just gotta make the head and stuff, but that's the shell. So it's climbing up into this vessel. And how about we have a second turtle continue with this idea of climbing up on this handle, right? That'll be nice. Yeah, okay. Sometimes I get scared on these ones, but I can imagine them, just two of them just climbing, right? Alright, I think this is gonna look great. Okay, let's start cruising on this. We gotta start slipping and scoring. Alright. Sometimes, ever since I've had long hair, I've been finding more hair in my tools, and I've learned to just like not worry about it. But one day I fear there's going to be like a compilation on YouTube of all the times where I have hair in my tools or get clay in my hair. I'm not a good hair maintainer. I feel like once I cut my hair now, I'm just never going to go back to long hair. Anyway, here we go. I like this. You can imagine a little tail flipping out there. I'm gonna grab the brush, wheel. Smoothing this out. Over here. Just making sure this bond is nice, smoothed out. Okay, so now this one I would say is pretty much done. We're gonna send this one over. The other ones here, we're gonna keep moving on. And at the very end, that's when we're gonna go back and revisit some of the sculpting elements, right? Okay. This one I think is crazy. You guys ready? Look at this one. Camera A. Zoom. Look at that, guys. Let's get a little spin in here. Ooh. Ooh. Good? It's random red cow skull. It's for another project that you guys can't know about yet. Feeling the vibes. Ka-chow. Alright. Enough with the tomfoolery, guys. Enough with the tomfoolery. I do like this vessel though. Like if I'm looking at this one, I'm really liking the way that this handle, it almost looks like an oil can handle, right? There's something that's like almost like futuristic. It almost reminds me of the nose of a beluga whale, like that little top flabby bit. Or like a dove with a little, or pheasant or whatever it's called. Anyway. I actually imagine this is a David and Goliath situation. Right? What do I mean by that is to me, this one here seems like it wants to be a small dude, you know? The other one, I think it needs to be a larger kind of monster over here. So we're just gonna cruise. Let's see where we get with just this. Make sure that doesn't fall in there. Gimbal. All right. Kind of like how this is looking. A slip and score. I just got this like serrated tool that I kind of just twist in there after I do my hole punch. I'm trying to make it almost like a cone, so then that this dude just plops right on the inside there, right? We will slip and score on this guy a little bit as well. I like this one a little bit more. Where's that little dude at? I always forget that I place it in my lap sometimes. Okay. Just making sure we don't accidentally push these in here. You know what these remind me of? I remember like I was on a golf course as a kid. Can you guys see this? These little nuggets. Reminds me of the stuff that they'd take out of golf courses, those little like coils. Almost looked like goose poop, but it wasn't. You know what I'm talking about? I feel like I don't see that as much in my adulthood, so maybe it was just like a high school sports thing. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Again, that's all I'm doing is really just making sure. Maybe I'm gonna have to get a little chunk of clay, aren't I? Okay. Just to hold up this guy. He gets finished up there, you know? I think that's gonna look great too. Alright, sweet. And then we got the one I'm most excited for is coming up here. I think this one. This one is like the winner of this whole small series of the water whistles. I mean, just look at this one, guys. Oh. You know, it's really a vibe. It just feels like it's dancing. That's what I would feel like when I look at this thing. Okay. So we got 4 whistles left. We got interesting, because I actually put a hole in the back of this one on accident. It feels like it's barking. Okay, we'll get that one in there first. We're actually gonna do 2 on this side, I feel like. This vessel is jamming. I got a good sense of what I want over here. Again, that's what we're doing, is we're just trying to, we actually got to add some stuff here, because that looks like it's not a healthy bond. Like, this looks like it's just gonna rip right off when I pick this up. You see what I mean? Okay, so first thing actually we're gonna do is we're gonna do some little surgery here. Get some clay. Somebody said, I feel like I'm back in beginning band. I love it. Oh, with the whistles, right? It's so funny. These are fantastic. I do enjoy them more than your trees. The shape, variation, movement is lovely. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I feel like for me, trees are just one project. And so hopefully the whole, like, I guess that doesn't really make sense. What am I trying to say? Like, trees are like an element that I can engage with, right? They're not like a full idea. The whole idea was the year-long project thing, you know? So I guess that was more the work, was the practice of doing it rather than the forms. That's a good way to say it. Okay. And I would normally do some slip and scoring, but right now this clay is so soft that I think I can just get away with scoring. Just because it's so wet. Maybe I'll just brush over that edge. Actually, looks like it's going to be a lot better of a little bond there. Maybe I'll do a little bit more on this side. And then after that gets hardened a little bit, I'm going to go back in it and scratch and then smooth that all out. But for now, really just focus on getting that connected. Okay. Also, can this stay by itself yet? Can. Okay, so we can remove this hole. I added this thing on there just because Whatever, if it needs a mark, that's fine. But that was only on there to hold up the handle for a little bit while I got that all situated. Alright, we did some surgery on that, so now we're gonna do some whistle planting here. Why am I saying planting, right? First, because it's like I'm sowing the ground right now. It feels very like I'm planting this potential right in there, right? Planted. And then maybe it will become something, right? That's the fun part of it. I actually think I need to get some more over here too. Alright. I think that looks okay. Let's get our second whistle on this side in here. Maybe we can have it actually be 2 parts. Right. This feels like this thing would be like a rhinoceros or something. It's kind of interesting looking. Scratching, scratching, scratching. Get this on in there. Alright, let's see. How cool is that? Alright, where's our brush at? Got another brush, I think. Yeah, this is the one. Kind of like this longer brush a little bit more. So this one's a pretty cool thing here. I'm actually really awesome if I can get the 2 of them to make the sound together during the actual use of the object here. Alright, and now we got the decision between which ones we want over here. I like this one more. It's more cheerful, and I feel like there's something menacing. So, like with having the 2 whistles going, it sounds menacing, like grr. Where the one kind of sounds like frolicking, right? That's the vibe I get from it. Oh, it's not playing any music, huh? Hold on one second, guys. All right. And now we're going to begin our sculpting. So this one right over here. I want this one to dry. So come on. Just chill out for a second right here. Interesting. The small one. Here we go. So this is the one that we first attached the whistles to. We're going to take some clay. And we're going to work with this a little bit here. What type of tools do we have? We might need to get something that we can sculpt some corners or edges with. I think having a smooth round forms with sharp edges will kind of distance themselves away from the object a little bit. Think about if you look at what's the difference between like the texture of wood and grass, right? They feel totally different. And so getting some stark texture difference can also make your objects sculptures stand out a little bit more. At least that's my opinion. Green. Green. Why isn't it working? Green. Gimbal. Can you guys not hear me? I wonder if that's the deal. Camera B? Huh. Oh, it's not green. I forgot. It's a total different word. Well, that's probably why it didn't work. It used to be green to activate the green screen. Now it's the word good. Wheel. Okay. Close in. All right. So something we're going to be messing around with here. So first off, we want to get some of this sludge. We want that right over here. That's our paint, right? And if you need somewhere to wipe, you just wipe it right on your pants. Okay, but now we got some sludge. Now what is this sludge going to be used for? Well, first, we're going to think about what we're making over here. I'm thinking for me, it seems kind of almost like a little ostrich ladies over here. So that's all I'm doing is I'm just pinching this little ostrich into place. So looks like a goose now. Alright. We don't like goose. Okay. Get the little goose's head on this top there. Now we need a little nest, because this goose is not just doing goose things, right? This goose is actually a mother goose. I know what we're going to do. Get a nest, roll up our ball here. I gotta sit in a better position for this. All I'm doing is I'm pinching a little bowl. The nest, right? And what will you do? You want to sit down first? It's a pretty big nest. So the first thing we're going to do is actually going to cut off a bunch of extra material until something a little bit more manageable. And something that I found is on the edges of things, rip and break those edges so you can add texture already into the rim of your, give it this nest-like appearance, right? So something a little bit more nest-like when it comes to that, right? Mother duck, you know, just trying to protect her babies against what's going to be over here. Maybe a fox. You know, what's this guy going to be over here? Always keep that in mind as I'm working. Trying to think about ideas as I'm cruising along. Well, you can kind of think about them before you get there. So then when you do get there, you've already had a couple of ideas pop into your head, right? All right. So now we got to roll up a couple of balls. You can see these are going to go right in there. I feel like they're just a little egg. And I think the goose would go well with having a wing of sorts too. So we'll probably do something with a wing here. And we'll have a baby duck. So we're gonna cut this egg in half. Okay. We're actually going to puncture a hole in here and wind this out. That's actually kind of weird. I feel like I do need to make it thinner because it is an egg. So I'll make it just a tad thinner. Okay. And then we gotta make a little baby gooseling. Alright. So we got this very small little baby bird. I don't know if you guys can see. That's going to be hanging out. So this is one of the ones that just hatched. So this is going to be a little surprise for the viewer because you're really going to only see it from this direction, right? So you won't even see this baby bird unless you do what? Unless you go around the sculpture. So kind of rewarding the viewer by giving them a little surprise, right?
Do you think of me? Do you remember my eyes and how I looked at you? Can you still hear it? My heartbeat.
Taking the eggs and I'm just sticking them in the nest now. Alright, so this can kind of be set and finished. I'm going to give some a little bit of the back of the hatched egg here. Okay. So we got the goose, the eggs, and the small little baby chicken over there. All right. So now we gotta do the wings. Really just trying to make this wing feel kind of free-flowing. And then what I have found is if I cut the wing early, right, and I kind of separate these out, thin them out separately, and then what I do is I overlap them, they really give me this sense of feathers. So a little bit crude. So I kind of like this open arm stance. Can I take this on needle? Scratch in here. I didn't like that method as much, so maybe let's try a different method. Just kind of keep it loose and gestural. I'm just going straight for it instead of trying to plan it out as much, right? Maybe we can get something a little bit more expressive, because we're not really trying to spend too much time on the sculpture itself, right? We're trying to get across an idea. It's almost covering up the whistle as well. I kind of like this idea of this motherly goose, you know, petting her babies here. I know gooses do have a little tail. Scratch. Okay. Zoom. Gimbal. So we got a goose. And this is, I think, going to be a fox. You know what? Why not a dog? This almost looks like a deer, actually. Wow, actually a deer would be beautiful, like a doe. I kind of like that idea way more. I feel like I haven't seen many images of geese and deer interacting with each other. I can imagine when they both see each other, like, what the heck is that animal? doing here? See how I did that? I'm trying to make it look like it's jumping there. Really thinking about what we want out of this, right? Because we could very well make horns and really sell the deer quality of it, right? I think we're going to do that. It seems like a good idea. White-tailed deer, they usually have their tails are perked up, so we gotta add that to it. Okay. We're liking what we're doing here. We're liking what we're doing, but so deer's horns are actually going to roll up too long. Cylinders. Then we're just going to cut them in half. Again, cut them in half. Okay. And take one of them and roll them around in your fingers a little bit until they look like the letter Y. Okay. And we have two Y's. You're going to fold one back and over. And banana that top part up. That way, they look a little bit more useful. So again, we're going to take this one over, this one up. We'll do it this other way, actually. So then we have two horns. So it's just a 4-pointer, right? That also might explain why it's so small. Here we go. just literally drawing the angry eyebrows. I really like how this looks. I really like this. This deer is totally jumping off the side to handle some business, you know. I love this piece. It's a deer and a goose. Alright. We'll do this one next, maybe. You gotta start setting them back in their little chamber. And so we'll let that sit in there for like, I don't know, like a week or something. Maybe not a week, maybe like 3 days. Okay. A new vessel, let's see what we got cruising for ourselves here. I don't know why, but I keep thinking a cow's head would go cool over on this side, right? This is number, we have 4 more. 1, 2, 3, wait, 4. Yeah, we have 4 more to go. Make this a little bit larger. A ram. That makes sense. Almost like as if you're pulling handles. That's what I'm doing here. Oh. Right, like a little ram's head. Cut this up. I'm really liking how this ram's head is working here. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's a freaking vibe. Awesome. Okay, ram's head is done. So what is this gonna be over here then? Maybe we just let it be a little monster. Right. I know what I want to do. Attach this on here. Nice. Alright, here we go. Snake.
Inside.
He's gonna be a chunky little little sheep. good enough? Okay, let me get my little needle tool. I'll cut it to the side here. He's like stomping at him. It's such a funny sheep. Like I gotta make him have these little mini tiny feet. Not because it's gonna look good, because it's gonna look funny. Alright, I'm going to bed. Nah. Thank you, I appreciate it. Alright. Scratching right on these side parts here. Just squish these on. Kind of like them being like splayed out to the side. This is he's a very frightened sheep. Very skittish sheep. Do sheep have what type of tail do sheep have? I feel like they're almost like deer a little bit. They're kind of like perky. Well, that's just gonna be it. So. Ah, thank you, FBI. It's so funny that the FBI said that. All right, so there's the sheep snake whistle. That's a cool whistle. Okay, now what's next we have? Let's do the turtles. The turtles I think will be quick and easy. Okay. This is a sign you need a lunch break. I do need something to eat, but that's okay. I have some, what is it called? I have some chicken thighs and rice and asparagus upstairs waiting for me, so after I'll get some of that stuff, right? Actually, I think I need to use the needle tool here. I want him to look in with his mouth open like he's shocked. Like, what? What? Maybe we need to have his head out though. Like he's calling all the other turtles. He's calling them. Please, turtles. You have one long foot. Longfoot and Snapshell, that's the name. The Adventures of Longfoot and Snapshell. Little tail. So I think that I'm away again. Come on, YouTube. You should know me by now. Playlist binger, yo. Alright, let's start the next one up. Okay. It's so funny. It's like he's like an active turtle, like he like did a flying jump to land on the, it's hilarious. I like that. Interesting. Okay. What is it? It's like a whistle. So these are whistles. So it's called a water whistle. So as you pour from one side to the other, it pushes air. So when it goes from air, when the water goes from here to here, all the air that's in here gets pushed through a whistle, right? And so I made a bunch of whistles. And so they all whistle. So right now I have two turtles. They're like trying to jump and see what's in this pond or whatever. And so I'm sculpting the turtles, but the turtles are the whistles themselves. So essentially I'm trying to mask the whistle by making them into mini sculptures. We said fire. Oh, thank you. It's gonna be a thing that I think I'm gonna be making a lot of. You know, I used to do my trees all the time, so I decided I was going to do some other stuff. So right now all I'm doing is I'm pulling this head of this turtle. I'm getting ready to open this turtle's mouth as well. Okay, let's attach the first arm here. And the arms aren't really anything special, guys. They're just little coils. Again, like, we're not trying to do anything crazy with the sculptures, right? You want the sculpture to not feel like the focus, but the additive, right? Alright. And then maybe if we have this arm here. Oh yeah, we kind of like that being bent up like that. That's kind of cool. Some scratches in there. Okay. So we'll see what I mean in a second. Let's get some more of our blue. Kind of looked like he's ready to crawl up on there, like he's in the transition of moving his arm up and over. Alright. Kind of let him chill for a second there. Okay, now we're gonna make the two legs. The legs, I want them to be a little bit more thick than the arms are. Bring this up, come that up, put that over there. I'm gonna see how I'm making these two little turtles. Kinda interesting, right? My whole goal with sculptures is that I want to get them to be as quick as possible, but also elevate the idea of the object the most as well, right? And so they're kind of in this weird stage right now where I'm just figuring it out, and I don't necessarily know how fast and how much information I need to put on these to make them get an idea across. So we'll see as we are here. Kind of like this. It really looks like he's crawling it up onto that handle there. Okay. Get some water on the tail here. All right, I would say this one's done. Look at that. Good. I'm like the turtles flying on the vessel. Ready to do the turtle walk? Here we go. Here goes the turtle. Spin it out. Turtle on its back, spinning around. Ka-chow. That's so funny. Okay. Come on, turtles. Alright, we got some cool ones right now. We got the snake sheep, the turtle one. What was our first one? Oh, the deer and the goose. Dang. All right. It already looks like it's ripping there again. So annoying. That's okay. So we like this one. Now what do we want out of this one, guys? We could probably get a sound out of this one. Okay. To me, I felt like this was gonna be like one of those ones where it's like, I thought it was some sort of night, or maybe, oh, I know what it is. This to me kind of looks like an isopod. So let's make it an isopod. A penguin would actually be a good idea too, but I already made the lines for the isopod. So I'm just down here and I'm taking this. I know it's hard for you guys to see what I'm doing, but that's all I'm doing is I'm just emphasizing the ridges on the isopod's back here. It does kind of sound like a train whistle. It has two primary whistles on it, so, but you only hear both of them right now because I can blow through it. When the water's in there, you'll hear one at a time. So that's the only difference about what's going on. Okay, now if I know my isopods, I know they have these little antennae. Here. These might be a little bit large. That's okay. You can exaggerate. Some little toes. Come on. His name is Henry the Isopod. Little Henry, he's a warrior. He's a knight in this story. We have Henry versus a dragon or some scary beast. Little Henry. He's one of the rubber ducky isopods. Maybe not. They do have these little eyes that I should put on there though. Henry the Isopod looks terrified. He's ready for battle. He's ready for anything. Isopod's greatest warrior, Henry. For glory and honor. I like that, yo. Maybe we'll give him a sword. This is Henry's sword arm. So he needs to hold. Henry. Making the Henry's sword. Henry the isopod is gonna get it done. He's gonna have some fun getting it done. Fighting dragons all day long. When it comes to Henry, ain't gonna take long. Henry the isopod. Henry the isopod. Kind of funny. Henry the isopod and a sword. Now we gotta have him turn his sword a little bit. Come on, Henry. He just has one jacked arm. Henry's lineage has some lobster descendant, which actually makes sense because I think isopods are more closely related to lobsters than any other insect. Oh, Henry with his sword, dude. Battle Beetle, dude. That's his superhero name. Henry the Isopod, the Battle Beetle. Battle Beetle. Battle Beetle. I feel like this is a vibe. Good? I got a sword too. Henry. 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 Cut him down, Henry. So funny, dude. Ka-chow. I owe all my sword skills to the School of Isopod. That's where I learned my swordsmanship. Alright. And I feel like Henry's angry. Why is Henry angry? What we didn't know is this right here. This is actually Henry's great-granddad. The Lobster King. So here we go. Henry versus the Lobster King, guys. We'll see what's going on. Look at that. The lobster king, dude. Alright. We gotta make one of the claws way larger. Oh, look at that claw. R.I.P. Henry. Yeah, dude. He's in some tough water against the king lobster. You gotta have faith in Henry, dude. You never know. He might win. You know, lobsters have kind of like this, it's like they have antennae. Their heads are almost like bird shaped, I feel like, with this like weird, is it a higher appendage? No, this is like a, this is definitely like a lobster. He has a sword. He has a shot, yeah. Lobster King, dude. You can't really see Lobster King too well right now, but that's what he's gonna look like over there. Well, let's get the claw on first. I feel like we can do that now. Oh, dude, the lobster, dude. I don't really remember where the antennae on a lobster go, but I think they're on their nose. They look kind of something like that, maybe. I feel like lobsters' necks are not thin, so I'm gonna make a little like carapace to set on his shoulders here. Okay, and we're gonna make his tail. And his crown, we forgot his crown. He's gotta have his... Dude, they're having a whole battle session over here. King Claw versus the Battle Beetle. Henry versus King Lobster. The battle is coming. All right.
Henry versus King Lobster. Now we need the lobster's tail. This is looking really cool, guys. Okay. There we go. I'm telling you, if that's not a vibe, I don't know what is, guys. Look at that. Good? Man, guys. Alright. So if I'm looking at this thing, guys, right here I'm seeing Henry the Isopod versus the King Lobster himself, King Claw. And they're having a little battle here, and maybe they're fighting over King Claw's crown, right? Henry the Isopod has descendants of the lobster clan, and that's why you can see the hand that Henry is using to hold the sword. The sword that Henry holds, that hand is a lot larger, similar to that of the crusher claw of a lobster. Yes, great. Ciao.
Everything starts with an E.
Such a fun little vessel this has become. Yeah. Alright, so we'll set that down for a second. And now we got the last one. I don't even know what we're gonna do with this one.
Everything starts with an E.
Alright, so what are we feeling like here? I'm feeling a rhinoceros. Or some sort of, yeah, we'll see. Maybe this could be the dragon one too. This would make more sense if this was the dragon one. Oh, does it think I'm not there again? Why is it always do this? Come on. Wait. I don't hear anything. Alright.
His head, I feel like it's very dragon-like here. What sort of dragon we're doing? Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, Rita. Get right on there. I feel like this is a little bit too, like I'm starting to get like hypnotized by the music. Maybe we have to get something a little bit more jazzy or something. Alright, how do I? Come on, I can't even see my mouse. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna actually have to keep it. Sorry, I can't see my mouse, so that's kind of... What's this one sound like? Oh, let's see. We're gonna get one like this. We're gonna make a little buffer plate so it's an easier transition from the skinny to this thick part, right? Some more clay. I can really see this. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. creepy looking, dude. You ever try to replicate different cultures' pottery? No, but these are kind of like a rift off of the Peruvian water whistles, right? Like, I never tried to get into the whole thing. I think about it this way, right? I'm a hyper individual person, right? And I really like expression of an individual. And so I don't like to define the things that I make really, right? Like if I use, for example, the Shino glaze, right? Is this a Japanese type vessel then? You know what I mean? Because I'm using that Shino glaze. I'm not too sure. That seems kind of like a loaded question. But these are riffs off of, there's a guy in Peru who do these water whistles with these little head toppers over the whistles, right? And it's that same kind of back and forth, right? And there are all these hand-built things. And so me as a thrower, you know, I want to throw things. And I often think about vessels and function, right? And what necessarily is function? Can sound be a function? And I think that's more where I'm coming from with the water whistles. I kind of like the idea of sound being a function. And then this top part is almost like storytelling. Adding something else, because they almost seemed like platforms, you know? The back legs. Like most of the time, I'm just trying to find anything that's other than making like a cup. You know what I mean? I think when you look at, like, if you typed in hashtag pottery, you're just gonna see like cups and vases. And so I want to make something that's just different. I like how it's looking right now. It just kind of needs a tail. Alright. Really liking this dragon thingy. This monster. That looks pretty cool. I feel like this other side just needs a snail. Like this big dragon versus like a small snail. I feel like that's kind of funny.
Scratch right underneath here. I'm liking how this is looking already. Just slide them right up underneath there. Look at how fast we just made that little snail on there. I like the idea of this like big monster versus this like little snail. So cool.
You know, God made me funky.
Alright guys, that's all I have for you guys today, so that's the last of them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it.
You know it's time to get up for the downstrokes.
See.
With odorless paint thinner. And I have a screen in the bottom of this can so we can scrub the bristles against the screen and the solid material sort of settle to the bottom, keeping the paint thinner relatively clean. I will shake it off and then just beat the devil out of it.